I have this nightgown that I was hoping that somebody might be able to help me to date. It's quite a long nightgown. It's lovely, sturdy cotton. It's in really, really good condition. It's long down to about the ankles. It's quite tight under the arms, but otherwise it's very voluminous. The only thing we definitely know is who it belonged to, because we've got a name tape here for E.M. Sanders, who is my husband's great-grandmother, and she was Edith Mary Sanders. She lived from 1878 to 1958. But that label could have been put on at any time. I believe they put on labels when they sent things to laundry, so they knew who to send them back to. Anyhow, just to show you a few little bits and bobs. The buttons are wonderful. They're just these fabric buttons, and it's got a little worked sort of loop, I suppose, buttonhole stitch. And the buttonholes themselves are hand sewn. Tiny, tiny stitches. I don't know if that's going to come into focus that close. That's a bit closer. There we go. And the cuffs are the same. Smaller buttons. These little metal covered buttons. And then this tiny buttonhole stitch. And it's got all this beautiful embroidery and this really, really soft lace that goes around the cuffs and around the collar. And then it's got this lace running down the centre front. And curiously, there's another button, just one more button, here. The opening stops at about the waist, further down here, and the lace stops a little bit further up. But it's curious, there's another button here, because there's no equivalent buttonhole on this side. There is a sort of marking of one that's at the same level, but it's not a repaired hole. It looks like something might have been started there, I don't know. But the rest of it is just untouched. The other thing which I find really interesting, I know the sewing machine was invented or patented or something in 1830 something, and I just wanted to point out, you've got machine stitching, but on the reverse side it's chain stitched. Don't know if you can see that. Let's get it up super close. Is that focusing? The reverse side is a chain stitch, and I looked it up that bobbin sewing machines weren't invented or weren't patented at about 1851. So I wonder whether this dates to before 1851 or whether people still used the sewing machines that don't have bobbins. And therefore this might be, it could easily be later if Edith Mary wasn't born until 1878. However, she was part of a manufacturing company called, let's see, I've written it down, Holmes and Beale, Holmes and Beale, Beale. And I can't find anything about them on the internet, so if anybody knows anything about them, I think her family was part of a manufacturing company, so maybe they made this and therefore she wore it. Who knows? Just looking at how beautiful this is. The other interesting bit is the side seams. If I go all the way down to the bottom near the hem, I can show you. You can barely see the side seams, but you can see the tiny, tiny, tiny stitches. If I pull it apart, you can vaguely see. It's almost like it's just the selvage just butted up against itself. See, there's a tiny gap there. That's just stitches gone over and over. And again, the chain stitch hem, you can see this chain stitch along there, which I haven't come across before. What else can I tell you? That's about it. Oh, this is the seam that I wanted to show you on the sleeve. So from the outside it looks like a normal seam, and then on the inside it's got this chain stitch. It's been stitched together, and then obviously the side of the seam has been put on the selvage, because that's the selvage, and it's literally just been slip stitched down. So that's how the side seam went on the sleeve. So hopefully you'll be able to, you might have an idea and be able to help me date it.